past. Let's start. Okay, fewer people are joining us. Let's just get those in. Seems a bit early for hay fever, but I'm a bit snuffly today. We'll see how we go. Okay, so we'll let people join as they can. If you see me looking to the left, that's only because I've got the chat box open on the left. So if you do want to put stuff in the chat box, I can keep checking on that and help. So as I said before we started recording, today is all about customizing times up, actually putting pricing through. So if you've got any challenges with how do you price something, then please open your own times up and let's actually change yours. Not I'm saying I'll go in and change yours, but we'll talk about it and you can do it while we're doing it on my version. And also, you know, I'd like you to make notes of how you can do things and things that I think you should be changing anyway. For those of you who don't know, Times Up was created over 20 years ago. And the pricing in there is the pricing that was set in Sheffield over 20 years ago. And to be honest, I haven't changed it much because I look at the good, the bad and the ugly, you know, the benchmark report that you all do. And I look at what you charge for things and it's you know, it's not that far off sometimes for some of the good ones. So, you know, but it is about you feeling comfortable with the pricing, but obviously making sure that Times Up reflects the price you want to charge, not the price you're charging now. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to go into Times Up. So I'm just going to move your lovely pictures onto my other screen so that I can look at you afterwards. Okay, so I'm going to show you some basic stuff about Times Up. Now, when you've customized it, I'm hoping you've already started doing this with your practice growth expert. One of the first things we ask you to do, isn't it, is to grade your clients, and that's using a resource and system builder. And then we ask you to fill in a spreadsheet so that you can basically just be aware of all the work that you do for your clients now and what you charge now. And then we put it through Times Up, and Times Up comes up with its own pricing, and then we discuss what needs to be changed. But there are a few things that I want to discuss that I think even on top of that, once you've looked at perhaps just changing some base prices, which I'll just show you in a minute, that there are things that you probably need to look at. So the first and most important point is that if you want to change the pricing in Times Up, then you need to do it in the choose a client. Okay, so you need to make sure that you're in the choose a client screen and that you find the cog here which says options and you use that button. Okay, now what that means is that will apply to every quote going forward. If you've opened any quotes or started any quotes anywhere else, they will have the pricing as it was when you open the quote. Okay, and the reason for that obviously is that if you've got old stored quotes, you don't want suddenly the prices changing on them. You need to be able to go in and see what you're doing. Okay, so this allows us to set prices. Now, one of the first things that people often do is change this number here. Now, in our systems, we suggest that you get paid for 10 months out of 12, and then there's 2 months you're not getting paid for, and that gives you a bit of a kick up the backside to go and talk to your clients about the pricing for the following year, rather than just letting things roll forward. Now, I like the 10 because when we look at the quotes, multiplying by 10 is easy for a client as opposed to multiplying by 12. But I know for most of you, actually, you still want that 12-month payment process. And it's really easy. You just come into here, change it and change it to 12. It's not difficult. Okay. The other thing about this is you can change that payment terms inside a quote. So inside a quote, there is the little cog button, which has exactly the same stuff in here, but when you change it will only apply to that single quote. So for example, if you're going to see a client and or you're seeing a prospect, for example, and you know that their year end is maybe in 3 months' time, you may choose that actually you want the payments to be over 6 months, because then you are going to get 3 months up front and 3 months behind. Why didn't that change? There we go, it did. It's just me being too impatient. And so you can go into a quote and say this is going to be 6 months, and then it splits the amount into 6 payments. and it puts that on the fixed price agreement. So you choose what you want that to be. Like I said, I think a lot of people tend to change it to 12. For me, like I said, when I'm showing people the software, it's much easier for them to multiply by 10. That's why I leave it there. Okay. The other things is that although there is an option here to have a calculate button on it, so that what it does is it hides the pricing in the quote, and then there's a button that says calculate, and then you have like a ta-da moment and have the pricing. You can have that and play with it if you want to. Again, it's only there because we had members who asked for it. It's something that I don't like using because I like to be open and honest. So I like to show people, so I have that switched off so that people see the consequences of their choices. Okay. And then you also have the option to do a minimum price. So this switch here, what this allows you to do is that you can set a minimum price for, say, a limited set of accounts, and it will set that price on the accounts point before you add any optional extras. Okay, so that before you go anywhere else in the quote, it will only do your minimum price. So that's quite useful if that's where you want to be, to have a minimum price in there. Okay, so if I just, this is just, again, thinking about how you're going to do some pricing. The second thing I want you to look at is the service levels. Okay, now I've got the advisory membership, and so I'll have a lot of you, and there are 2 lots of service levels here. And that's because there is a bundling option called the total accounting solution. It's something that I wouldn't advise you do straight off. But what I would advise you to do is to have a look at it. So in System Builder, if you put in TAS or Total Accounting Solution, you'll see all the documentation about whether or not you want to use that. Again, it's purely your choice. It allows you to think about how you bundle what you do. So again, good for you to think about, but just stick with the standard ones. You can change the wording on these however you like. Now, there is a bug, and it's always the same, isn't it? Okay, so if you want to call these bronze, silver, gold, that's fine, change the typing, but there's a little bit of a bug in it. So what you need to do is you just need to untick or tick this box here as well, come off the page, go back in, and then readjust that box. I don't know why, it just needs an extra nudge to do that. Now, as you know, we have always said, give people the choice of 3, 4, and 5, because we want people actually to buy the middle bundle. The middle bundle, when you look at what's included in there, should be everything that you feel comfortable that your team can deliver, the majority of it, okay? And if you don't have a team, that you can outsource the majority of it, okay? Because what you want to do is free up your time to be delivering the 5-star, and you're not expecting people to go for the 5-star. Lots of people, you're only expecting a few people because the price is higher. Okay, what you want people to do is to really want to go into the 4-star. Okay, so when you think about what you put into your 4-star bundles, and you'll see again in System Builder, there is a whole load of information. You can have a look on the Times Up Toolkit. There's a link to what's included in the standard bundles. Excuse me. But you can choose what you want to bundle and unbundle, and I'll show that in a minute. Okay. Now, at the moment as well, all these documents go to their linked ones. So this will go and show the 5-star document that's in System Builder, the 4. So you can see where the pencils are, that's related documents. So if ever you want to just click through and check, you can do. If you want to change the documents, make sure you change them in System Builder and you make them green. Okay, they have to be green for Times Up to read them. And then once you've made them green in Times Up, you need to sync. So do that lovely cloud button, and it will then make sure it's reading the latest version from System Builder. So this allows you to change these wordings. If you wanted to, you could add another. So for example, I've had some people who they've added another. So I've just clicked the plus here. Okay, or I did, I thought, there we go. Okay, I've got a new service level, and they've moved it. It's absolutely shocking today. It's like it's just decided that it's going to be really bad today. They've almost moved it to a top level. So for example, and do you remember in masterclass we talk about how we need to anchor something? So sometimes they might have this as their virtual FD service, okay, and they may then have that as a price which is much, much higher, okay. So what they're trying to do again is they're trying to make sure that people say, okay, yes, I can see that there is an option for you to be doing everything for me, but actually what I want to do is buy one of these. So you can build however many as you like of these, but again, don't get too carried away. It's better to stick with the 3. If you want to add another one, please do, but be careful how you do it. If you do it, create a document that explains what it is. And if you don't want to do it, you just delete and it gets rid of it. Okay, so what that's going to do is just allow me to go back. So important to think about what you want to bundle in each. Okay, really, really important to make sure that this is your minimum service, the 3-star. Okay, but the 4-star is the one you want most of your clients to go for. So you would expect your B's and C's to be buying 4-star and maybe your A's to be buying 5. Okay. Now the trading entities are set here, okay, but you can put whatever language you like in here because these paragraphs in all of them appear in the fixed price agreement pulling through. So you'll see that they are slightly different when you read them all. It doesn't look like they're at that top, but if you go into much further, you can keep going, look, it keeps going, and there's lots of other things in here. So you can go through and check. So this one's obviously talking about partnership tax self-assessment return. This one's obviously, you know, they're all different language in there. And this is where you can set your minimum figure. So do you remember in general options, I said there's an option here to calculate the minimum price before external options. So here in trading entities, you can set your minimum figure. So you can say, right, all my sole traders will pay me at least £300, whatever it is. Okay, you make those numbers up. That's yours. Okay. It allows us to do, again, to set yourself some guidelines. Excuse me. Again, all of these are linked to the document. They're all linked to the same fixed price agreement document. But again, there is no reason why you can't create different ones. So if you want to write a specific one for auditing, then you can write one in System Builder and you click this button and it links, you can link it through. So it can give you a different template if you want for each one. And I know for people when they've been talking about, excuse me, complying with their governing body, with their language, it might be that it's quite useful to have some of that information in there. That's up to you. Now, what the software does is it takes that base figure, sorry, with trading entity, and it makes the adjustment depending on the business type. And this allows you then to be able to have shown as a specialist, to make adjustments for certain types, whatever. And then it multiplies it by a price modifier dependent on turnover and a price modifier dependent on the quality of the books and records. Okay. So there are lots of the training videos I've already done explaining all this, but what I really want to do is, again, you can put your minimum fee in here. So for startups, you can say, right, the minimum fee is whatever. And you can also put some specific wording in. So if you want to be seen as the accountant to work with dentists, then in this paragraph here, you can talk all about, you know, understanding the work that dentists do, how they have some private and NHS, and how the returns have to be put in, and all the rest of it that will help them. Okay, that's really important. Excuse me. The turnover ranges, in our recent update, we looked at this and we changed it slightly. So before we used to have 0 to the VAT threshold, but now we've actually split it into smaller so that you can look at the startup businesses. There's a lot of small entrepreneurial businesses starting now, and we want to get working with them because they are the sort of people that want to grow their business and want business advice. And so it's really important that we have some way of engaging those people. So we've just, again, put in a smaller band. If you haven't got this, really easy. Again, you just click the add button. And what it will do, it's just going to do it for me now, when it thinks about it, is it will create a new line. Now it creates a new line at the top, okay? And you need to make sure that whatever number you have in the lower column ends in a 0 and the column before is 9, and that they don't overlap, okay? So if I wanted to, I could make that even smaller. I could do 0 to 25, 25,999 to whatever. Okay, and you can do that however you like. I'm just going to delete that again because I don't want to mess up my systems. And also again further down, so you know, some of these people have said to me, some of these gaps get really large at the bottom. So again, just you can make them bigger, you can split them up, you can add more of them. You choose how you want to build that to arrange, but I would suggest that you don't play with it too much. It can cause a lot of confusion for people. I think you all understand the accounting systems. There's not a lot we need to do with that, other than if you choose to change the word template in System Builder at all, just make sure that if you do change the percentages, they reflect in the software. Okay, really important that you do that. So this links to the document in System Builder. This links to the descriptions, and whatever you've decided in the document is your penalty, in this case penalty or discount, you make sure they're the same. Okay, again, if you want to change this wording, you can do. It's up to you really how you want to do it. What I wanted to do is I wanted to have a look at some of the optional extras, because this is where we can start being really flexible and we can start putting things in. Now, again, those of you who are on the older version of Time's Up, you may not have the optional extras laid out like this. Okay, if you want to have them laid out with this, we can help you do that. That's really simple. We'll probably just help you get a backup of what you've done now, just so that we can make sure that if you've done any changes already, we can replicate them in the new version. Okay, now we changed it because what we wanted to do was make sure that when you were using Time's Up, it was conversational. Okay, so the first thing to do, obviously we talk about what type of books and records they've got, and they may say, oh, you know, I've got great manual records. So the first thing is to help them do their own bookkeeping, but we want to make sure they're doing things the best way. Okay, so again, we've got all sorts of ideas. If you want to add anything extra, it's just add an item. If you decide, for example, that you want to change the order of this, yet again, really, really simple. So again, we're talking here about getting them on the cloud, because that's really what we want them to be. We don't really want them to be on a spreadsheet. But if that's something that you do, if you have a spreadsheet that you can then upload for MTD, then add it in, you know, put the other using the John Smith & Co. Bookkeeping spreadsheet and ensuring it all crosscasts, it's all analyzed, then that could be something that you put in here. It could be that actually you want to look at other ways of doing, helping people. So whatever you do for now to help people who do their own bookkeeping, make sure it's recorded. So for example, it could be that if people are doing their own bookkeeping, you may be going in on a regular basis and just checking how good it is. So again, you might want to add an extra item. I don't know if I just click that then or not. I'm going to get lots in a minute when it decides to do it. I really don't know what's up with the internet today. There we go. Okay, so I might say new item is quarterly review of your zero bookkeeping, and that might be and in the wording you would put we will review your bookkeeping postings quarterly and give you a report on errors or missed items. Okay, so it could be something like that. Okay, and you could either have a fixed price in there. So I might want to say, okay, that's whatever, or you might actually have it in as bands. So you might have a lookup table. So lookup table allows you to do ranges. So if you know that somebody has on regularly, just wondering if there's anything I can close. Let me just try closing some stuff. if you know that, for example, that most people have on average, I don't know, say 500 transactions a quarter, between 1 and 500 transactions a quarter, and you think, okay, that's probably going to take 4 hours to do that. Say that's £200, that's a quarter, so that's £800. Yeah. And then we just add another line. When it thinks about it. Oh my dear. So between, say, 500 and 1,000 transactions, I'm going to make that 1,200. Okay, so you can put in whatever you like. Okay. If you want to, you can create your own little Word document in, you know, service requests in System Builder that explains what all you do and what the report looks like. And then you can link that through so people can see that. Okay, so build in whatever you think is really important for you, that make sure that you get paid for the work that you do. Okay, I do remember working with somebody who kept telling me that they had all these fantastic A-grade clients, and the reason that they were A-grade clients was because one of their team kept sneaking in every month and fixing the bookkeeping. So, you know, it's about knowing that stuff, making sure that happens. So in this case, we talk about, don't we, about helping them do their own bookkeeping. Then we talk about the stress, taking the stress out of it and doing them themselves. I've kept this as simple as possible. I know some software can make this really complex. I'd rather not, but this is up to you. So we've dealt, and again, if you look at the wording on these, you can see it's quite clear. We're just going to make sure that, for example, online trading accounts, that we make sure that they're recorded properly, so you get the cost as well as the sale, and you can evaluate how effective this sales medium is for you. And it's based on the average number of sales per month. Okay, so it doesn't matter how many accounts they've got, it's the number of sales together, okay, that they do via those platforms. Again, I've done a lookup table, but it gives you that sort of option. And then we've just done really simple stuff. So reconciliation of the bank. So hopefully, obviously, if you're using QuickBooks or Xero, you're using Dext or any of the other tools to bring through things. So it's very simple for you. Input of sales and purchase invoices. And again, with that, it's sales and purchase invoices. So it's making sure, and the reason why they should pay us is because they'll get better knowledge of their business, allowing you to make better decisions. And again, on average, the number of transactions per month, that's why it says here average per month, so that you can then put in a fee. You can change this however you want. And then finally, we've put in creation of sales invoices, and I've actually made that extortionate. And the reason for that is because we don't really want to be doing it. If a business cannot generate its own sales invoices, that means that they're very complex. And to be honest, you don't want to be doing them either. It'd be much better to help them find an app or a tool that will make it easier for them. So we've tried to make that expensive. Again, if you think there's anything else with the online bookkeeping where you're doing the work, please put that in, okay? It's really, really simple. Payroll, really, really simple here, okay? So again, what we haven't really explained to them is the amount of complexity there is around, obviously, the different payrolls and pension reports. Okay, so this is complying with statutory regulations, so that's getting the payroll done, but we haven't talked about the fact that we need to submit payroll reports. So it's possible that, again, if you want to, you can add a new line. So this is setup of auto enrollment. You can put an extra line of which you put submission of payroll reports. Oh, look at that, it's typed over the middle. Pension report. I can't smell today. Pension reports. And again, you can put whatever wording you want in there. And again, you might want to say it's a lookup, it's a price multiple maybe. So you can say, okay, for how many different pension companies are we working with? Okay, and if that's the case, so between 1 and 10, I'm going to charge I don't know, £60 a year. So it'll say to me, how many pension companies do you want to work with? Do you work with? That's 3. Okay, it's 3 times 60. That's what price multiple does. So it gives you that option again. So I'm going to put, I'll just put here. Come on, you go. There we go. Price based on number of pension companies submitting to. Only because I'm only putting that is obviously that there's usually a company pension, but there may be other things that they might have private pensions that they are having money taken out of their payroll for. So again, you might want to put in an extra line for dealing with tax credits. You can do like that. One of the things that I would actually suggest you do on the payroll, okay, I would put a little caveat on this. So this price allows for up to, and then you come up with 5 levers and starters in the, oh gosh, sorry. In the year, okay. And then what that does is then obviously that limits the amount of work you do for that. You might even say it's 2, it's up to you. And then you can put then any extra will incur an extra work order. Okay, so that means then you're not constantly dealing with issues. So I was speaking to somebody the other day, and obviously deals with a particular business where there's an awful lot of leavers and joiners. So actually payroll is not simple. So it allows us to be able to put that sort of stuff in there. So think about that, make sure the wording is right as well. Again, the wording in here at the moment is just very basic. Once you've done the value roadmap, when we sit there and we talk about what is the value of every service that you deliver, you may want to go in and change the wording in here so that it's really, really helpful. You know, it's really, really clear to people what you're delivering, what work you're doing. Okay, and more importantly, what is and isn't included, because that creep through of doing things for free happens often. So for all of these, really simple. Again, just so you're aware, my thought process here is that if you are doing the bookkeeping, so if you have decided that you're doing this reconciliation of bank and sales invoices, then I'm assuming that the VAT is included in that fee because you've done all the work, okay? So this line is the preparation of VAT from a client's records because there's still some work you need to do. So that's why it's extra, okay? And then we've got basic extra. Anything else that you think should be put in here, please put in. I've sat and worked with several members where we've put all sorts of things in here. Management accounts, some really sort of just basic stuff, and then business development services. So this is the stuff that you've got access to straight away. Everything that's in here, there is support for it in System Builder. Okay, so if you think, oh my goodness, somebody's bought helping you through the hard times, go into System Builder, type that in, you will find a whole suite of resources on how to deliver it. Okay, and if there's anything that you are concerned about, please call your practice growth expert. Okay, really important. Tax planning, again, this is for you to work out how you want to put in. If you don't want to deliver any of this, please, you know, make a note of it. We do not teach you how to do any of this tax planning. Okay, we are not a training company to teach you to be an accountant. Okay, we're here to train you to be a business advisor or business growth advisor, okay, and to help you run your own business. So company car tax planning, there'll be a little leaflet in System Builder, a service request that explains the benefits, but we don't have a tool for doing that. Having said that, there are lots of tools out there. I mean, I just Googled this morning and found loads of really great ones. And then other services, anything you like in there. Now you'll see some things like this are grayed out. The reason they're grayed out is they're coming from another section. Okay, we have 3 sections: optional extras, PMI, and total accounting. Oh, I do apologize. So what it does is it allows us to look at this. Excuse me, just one moment, because I think I've accidentally just got my... Sorry about that. I do apologize. So I turned all that off. Okay, so the reason this is coming from somewhere else, if I click through, it will tell me, look, this item is in the total accounting solution other section. So if I want to change that, I need to go to total accounting solutions. Okay, and all I do is click on it, go to other. Okay, and you'll see it's in here and it's now not grayed out. And so if I want to change the price of this, I can do it within here. Okay, now again, you can move those around if you want to. That's up to you. You can just change it around. There are a couple of things though that I have spotted that I'd like you to look at. Okay, extras. So in the PMI folder, so this is the numbers folder. And what we've done on this section is we've replicated everything that's in the numbers folder. And this allows you to price all those things. So if somebody says to me, okay, somebody said to me, I want a board meeting and I want one-page plan and whatever, you can do this via Times Up, and there is pricing already in here. Okay. So what I wondered was, one of the things I think we probably need to think about doing is adding a few extra things. So this is something for you to do, either if you've got your software open now or as an action for you to do. So what you want is just the personal and business goals and the personal balance sheet. Okay, they have prices and links through. I'm not going to talk about those. Forecasts, again, this is about you thinking about what tools do you have to forecast and what do you want to point. So if you've got specific software that you're buying that does this forecasting for you, or you've got links to, like Xero does some stuff now, doesn't it? You can actually add your own lines in to show you that. The how you're doing is the one that I want you to think about. Okay, so I think that perhaps this needs moving around a little bit, and this is just me. Okay, so I think probably if you were talking to somebody, you may start by talking about perhaps having quarterly board view meetings. So I am just going to move mine up to the top because that's what I think I would start talking about. Okay, but then I might actually say, well, do you know what? It's probably better if we have monthly. So I'm going to talk about, am I on the right line? Yeah, monthly board meetings. So I'm going to just move that up. Unfortunately, it's not a drag and drop. You have to click up the search. Okay, so I've now got my quarterly and monthly board meetings. And then to me, then when you say, okay, what are we going to talk about in those board meetings? Well, actually, it'd be really important, wouldn't it, to have a one-page plan to think about what are the key drivers. So I'm going to move the one-page plan up because that means that I would then talk about, okay, what's happening in your business, and then supporting that, maybe measuring some key sales drivers and maybe improving the account system. So already I would, just by the way I talk, and this is what you need to think about, is how you have the conversation, I've moved those things around. Now, I spotted yesterday that there is an error on the database here, so I just want you to change this yourself. So on the monthly board meetings, if you click through, okay, something has happened on this table and I have no idea what's gone on with it, but it seems to be the wrong table to me. So I think that actually, if we're having a monthly board meeting, again, they may want to have, let's just change, I'm going to change that to 1 to 12. Okay. Yeah, I know. I'm just going to delete this other line then, just because it's not happy with me. Okay, so let me just change that back to, okay, so I'm going to delete this line first because I don't need to have 100 board meetings. That just doesn't make sense. I don't know what's happened on the database. So I'm going to change that to 12, 1 to 12. And then I need to think about those board meetings. Okay. Now, every time you have a board meeting, you're going to be sat in that client's premises or you're going to be on Zoom. So you need to think about it. If you want to make this an hour Zoom meeting, okay, then, and you've got to remember that in that Zoom meeting, it's part advice that you're giving them and it's part you looking for opportunities. So there is a sort of a sales and marketing opportunity there because you can look for opportunities to help them more. And there is a way of giving them advice. So think about what sort of price do you want to suggest. So I may say, okay, I think then I'm going to charge £150 per meeting. Okay, so if they want monthly 12, there'll be 12 times £150. Okay, if they say to me, well, actually, I'm only going to manage 10 because Christmas and August, fine, 10 times £150. Okay, whatever. So you can say that there, but you need to be really clear in this here how long that is or how long you want to expect that to be. So if you want that to be a 1 hour Zoom meeting, then change this. We will gladly attend a 1 hour Zoom meeting to help you make the very best of your time. Okay. If you are going to get called in to sit in a half day or a full day meeting, that needs to be a whole different ball game, doesn't it? So you may have monthly, and this might be just monthly 1 hour Zoom. Oh, can't spell again. Board meetings. Okay. And then again, you might need to add extra lines. So be really clear about how you're going to spend the time. So I'm going to add an extra one, which is, here we go. Monthly half day board view meeting. Okay. Oh, can't spell again. And then I can copy and paste that. And again, I can come up with a lookup table. So if I'm going to be there half a day, if they've got half a day of my time, again, what would you do with that time? It's not about time, I know, it's about value. So let's do a multiple again. There we go. And then between 1 and 12, I'm going to suggest maybe that's 250. Now, I know that's not 3 times an hour, but actually the first one, you still got the same amount of preparation, haven't you, before that meeting? So again, you can choose how you want to have this. Make sure it's really, really clear. Okay. Make sure that you look at that. And it might be then, excuse me, that you say, do you know what? I want to be able to show some of these services when I'm just showing optional extras without me having to go back into PMI extra. So for example, if I want to show a monthly 1 hour Zoom meeting, when I'm looking at optional extras, you can click on the arrow. And if you go down to extra groups, okay, you will see all the different groups in here. So I might say, do you know what, that what I want to do is add that to management account services, because that would be really good to have that discussion while I'm in there. So I just switch that on. There we go. And it will now appear. So there may be other ones in here. You think, do you know what? I'd like to show those in my optional extras. And all you have to do, so again, I'm just going to put my 1-page plan in there, is go to the groups, click edit and switch on. So I'm going to put that into there as well. Okay. It's so flexible. We can make it look however we like. So it's really important that you think about how do you want to show people stuff. It's about replacing your conversation. And then the other thing that I think I would suggest you add in here is the setting up of the 1-page plan. This is about measuring the numbers, and it's not about you collecting all those numbers, because you need the client to collect a lot of the numbers. What you want to do is pull them together and then analyze them and have your questions ready about them, because a 1-page plan is about taking action. But you do need to help them set it up. So it may be that you need to have, as an extra item, a meeting to create the 1-page plan. So creation of 1-page plan. Because when you think about it, again, you've got a whole resource on this. Again, you'd put in a good description. I would probably put that as a fixed price, because you'll need to sit down with them probably for half a day, maybe a little less if you can get away with it. And using the 1-page plan resource, you can actually sit down and work out what are the key performance indicators for them, and which ones have to be measured now and which ones can be measured in the future. So again, that might just be a price that you go, okay, in order to create it, we have to have a half a day. So you might put in here come on, half day session to discover. Oh, are you typing or not? Apparently not. I'm typing away and it's not doing anything. There we go. Day session to discover your key performance indicators. Okay. So build whatever you need to. This is what I'm saying. It's really, really important to do that. So this is just about, excuse me, this is all about how you can edit and change all these things. So the important thing is to sit down with your practice growth expert and just list out all the services that you currently deliver and make sure every single one of them is in here somewhere. And then all the services you want to deliver. Okay. And there may be some services you don't want to deliver. Yeah. Okay. So that's fine. Take them out. You don't have to deliver everything. Okay. There was another thing that I think is also quite a nice little tool that we might want to put through. So in the total accounting solution, there is a thing here called the cash to profit reconciliation. And again, a lot of people, aren't they? They're not sure about that connection. So again, why not put that into one of your services? Okay, it could be in that compliance one again. Just so that then you can talk about it. So have a look at all the different ones, excuse me, I've got itchy nose, of all those different services, and have a look how you want to do it. Any questions so far? Because I've been giving you loads and loads of different ways of looking at things, and I haven't done a standard training on this is how we customize times up. I've just been showing you lots of different things that I think you need to be looking at now on top of the standard stuff. Any questions? Okay, anything you want to do, or you will think, oh, Emma, how am I going to put that in? Please put it in the chat box. Okay, let me know. The last thing before we finish today, I want to point you to is in your tax. Okay, so in your tax, which is about the tax return only, okay, I just wanted to point out, because this comes to me all the time, in the initial questions, there is a line called income from land and buildings. Can you read that? I don't know if you can. It says, where applicable, preparation of, oh, I can't read it up. Preparation of property rental accounts for income received and related expenses during the tax year and ensured disclosed appropriately on the return. A lot of people say to me, I've got quite a lot of people with rental income. Okay. How do I manage that? Do I put them through your business, or do I put, you know, if they've got rental portfolios, what do I do? Is that a business? Is that not? Again, that depends on the structure. If it's somebody and literally they just have 5 properties, okay, you can see here, this is a price multiple. So what it would do is if you tick this box, it would say how many, and you could put in 5, and it would currently put in 5 times 50. Now, I don't know how long it takes you to do property rental accounts. Probably I would expect cost a little bit more, so I might want to lift that. It may be, again, you might want to put some caveats in here. Okay, think about that sort of work. Some of it can be very profitable for us, can't it? Because it also leads to other work that we can do with them. But so think about all of that. Okay, and if you do put a caveat in, or you change anything, just check this bottom bit here. This bit here is this appears in the your tax only, in that it also allows us to write what information do we require from the client, and that appears on the fixed price agreement as a little schedule, doesn't it, at the end of these are the things we expect you to bring in. So just to make sure that, again, if you've got specific challenges that you find with people that have rental income, that you make sure it's recorded so that they bring that information in for you. Okay, so I just wanted to just show you that all this stuff. Also, when you do make all these changes, okay, it's important that you print the price list. Okay, I'm not going to do it now because it takes ages for me to do it, but what it'll do is it will then print all the prices as it stands now, with all the services as it stands now, as at today when you finish. And then I would expect every year for you to go back and review those prices, okay, and have a look. And it may be that next year we might decide that all our sole traders are going to pay a bit more, and we might up the base figure. It might be that we decide, actually, we've really mispriced one of our services. So if you remember, I've put loads of extra stuff in here. You can see they're starting to come through. That you can have a look. There's the cash to profit reconciliation. In the management accounts, you can see the Zoom meetings and the one-page plan. They've grayed out because they're in a different section. Look, they're in the PMI. But you may say to me, oh, actually, I've decided that company secretarial work is a bachelor pain. I don't really want to do it. But so let's put a price on it, because there'll be some people who pay for it and there's some people who won't. Okay. It might be the international VAT reporting. I need to be more detailed on that. So you think about how you do that. But the most important thing is when you make all those changes, okay, you sync so that it now saves all that data up into the cloud. Okay. And then you can start your quotes. Any questions from anybody? Have I just completely overwhelmed you all, guys? Probably. All right. So what I'd like you to go away is go and do some of those actions that I've talked about today. Update this Time's Up. If you've got any challenges at all, Jenny and I love working on Time's Up. We'd love to help you with anything you want to do with it. Okay. So please let me know. You know where we are. You can always book a call with us, and have a great day. Take care, everyone. Bye.